Hey guys, I'm here with my friend Sela,
Hey.
and we're here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And I've been following your journey, and I'm just like, it's really similar to my journey. I'm like, I really gotta talk to this person. You agree, right? We have so many things that are like just spot on the same in our journey as diaspora,
Yep.
coming back to the motherland and having this journey,
Yeah.
and then being like a bridge, which is really what you are now,
Yeah.
for sure, for the Khmer diaspora.
Yeah. We're like two bridges for Vietnamese diaspora and then Khmer diaspora.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And I had a really incredible journey coming to Cambodia about 2 years ago, where I got to travel for 2 weeks with two monks. And then I knew that whatever I do in the future, there has to be some bridge building between Vietnamese and Cambodians, diaspora and in the motherland as well.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's a lot of work to be done because we're so similar. I'm like, why is there so much tension though, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was just talking to a couple monk friends of mine who are locals here. And I was talking about how I didn't really know about that tension growing up, just because being Asian American
Yeah.
is more of the group, more of the identity, for me at least. And so Cambodians and Vietnamese, where I was growing up in Los Angeles, we had to kind of like team up, and then coming here and then hearing about tensions. And I was like, I can't relate to that because I'm like, I didn't grow up with that. And I was like, man, that's kind of sad because I mean, we're neighbors. We should just
Yeah.
get along.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. We'll get
Yeah.
into that because I know you have a very special perspective because you're Khmer Krom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think some people might not even know what that is. So we got to touch on that today. So I want to start with your story before coming here to Cambodia and starting this amazing thing that we want to talk about later, which is Selarati, which is your experience for Khmer diaspora. So before we get to that, you grew up in New Hampshire.
Yeah. You did your research.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I'm always assuming all Cambodian people are from Long Beach, California.
Or Lowell.
Where's that?
Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. Okay,
You
yeah,
only
yeah.
tapped into the West
I
Coast.
tapped into the West Coast. I don't know anything about the East Coast.
No, yeah, because Lowell, Massachusetts is the second biggest Cambodian town in the U.S.
I did not know
And
that.
it's actually like the highest density because if you compare it to Long Beach is so big. So it's like the highest density Khmer population in the U.S. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Official Cambodian town in Lowell. But yeah, I lived in New Hampshire, so like 45 minutes from Lowell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it like being Khmer in your
New
neighborhood,
Hampshire.
your area?
Yeah, growing up in New Hampshire is, I think just as a person of color is very interesting. But just specifically as Khmer, I mean, I didn't really even have that many Asian friends growing up. The diversity was very little, and then let alone people even knowing where Southeast Asia is. They know Vietnam because of the Vietnam War, of course. But yeah, so it is interesting growing up, and I just like couldn't wait until college to like branch out and go to the big city because yeah, luckily like I never faced super bad racism, but it was like there and it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I went through the whole like when I was really young, I grew up around all white people, so I was like, "Ugh, being Asian is like so hard. I wish I was white." Like when I was really little, like elementary school, and
Yeah.
then it wasn't until high school that I started to be like, wait, being Asian is really cool, and I want to learn more about where I come from and stuff. And then, but also growing up too, I identified as Vietnamese and Cambodian
Right.
because my family's Khmer Krom. My mom, her whole family came from Vietnam, from the Vietnam War. So, and I didn't even know what Khmer Krom was at that time. So I would just identify as Vietnamese-Cambodian, especially because I grew up speaking Vietnamese. So I just knew more Vietnamese things. My mom owned a nail salon. All her coworkers were Vietnamese. I grew up very Vietnamese in Vietnamese communities. And then so I also struggled to identify as Khmer or Cambodian because I didn't speak Khmer. I didn't know anything about the Khmer culture.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I identified more Vietnamese growing up. And then when I went to college out in San Francisco, I still found myself like I had a bunch of Vietnamese friends. Also, there just wasn't as many Khmer people at my school. I went to a small university. But yeah, I think my whole upbringing, childhood, I was like very Vietnamese. And only once I started learning about my Khmer Krom roots and what that meant and everything did I start tapping into my Khmer side. Yeah.
You're triple hyphenated.
Yeah.
Or double hyphenated, right? You got Vietnamese, Cambodian, American.
Yeah.
Wow. Another thing that I relate to you about is just that wanting to know more by the time you're in high school. Because that was me too. Elementary school, watching TV shows, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if did you watch Full House?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
what? Okay, I thought we were
Yeah.
like very different generations here, but just seeing these kids come home and like their parents, the way they treat them, oh, tell me about your school day, and they're always hugging. Parents are like teaching their kids lessons on the couch,
Can't
and I'm
relate.
like,
My mom never helped me with homework.
what? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
You get like told to do homework, but you don't get the help with the homework.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then
yeah.
you're, I kind of want that. I want the lunches that the white kids are eating and
Yeah.
like all those things. And then high school, you're like, yo, why don't we get enough information about my culture, my community,
Yeah.
right? Because it's just like invisible.
Yeah.
I felt invisible. And then the same, I couldn't wait till university because that's where you're going to learn about it.
Exactly.
So then once you got to university, did you find that?
So, yeah, I did. It wasn't until probably, yeah, like halfway through university. So I started school in San Francisco, but then COVID hit like halfway through my college experience. And so
Mm,
when I first went to college, and San Francisco has such a high Asian population, right? So I was like, oh my God,
very
it's
high.
so cool to be Asian. And like all my friends are Asian. And that was my first exposure to having Asian friends that
Mm,
weren't my cousins, And so that was an awakening in and of itself for me. But then still, I didn't have Khmer Krom friends or people that had the
mm.
exact kind of experiences that I did until I met my best friend who's also Khmer Krom. And she had like just transferred to my school. Shout out Sobani. Um, and that her and I, when we met, was at the same time that I started to learn about my Khmer Krom roots. It was everything kind of happened at the same time where I was studying international sustainable development. And I was like really passionate about community development, helping just disadvantaged communities, human rights, things like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my mom was kind of going through her own learning journey of learning about Paikran too. So
Interesting.
yeah, and like I didn't really know that until I reflected back later on. But yeah, she didn't grow up teaching us that we were Paikran. I think she also knew but didn't really know what it meant because
Yeah.
she came to the States when she was like a teenager.
Mm.
So she was quite young too. And then um yeah, so this happened at the same time where I started to want to study it, do work in this field, and then also make friends that were Khmer. And I remember looking on Instagram, there was like Khmer Student Association that was like starting at my school. And I was like, wait, I want to be part of this. And then we ended up building it together, my friends and I. Um, but all that to say is like that's when I started to learn Khmer. I was like, I want to learn Khmer. That's when I started going to temple and then learning about the traditions and making other Khmer friends basically, which there was
Mm.
only a few of us, but yeah.
Just to catch people up, what is Khmer Krom? And
Yes.
what is that experience like?
So Khmer Krom are the people of Cambodia-Krom. So Cambodia-Krom refers to the land long ago when the lower part of the Mekong Delta was part of Cambodia, which is Cambodia. And so this is like long, long time ago. Like this is centuries and centuries, but eventually, past post French colonization, that land became part of Vietnam. And there's a lot of discussion about when Vietnamese came into that land and all of that.
That's,
But we
yeah.
do know that that land was part of Cambodia before. And so Kram in Khmer means like below. So it's the lower part of the original like Khmer lands. We have Khmer Krom, which is the low Khmer Kandal, which is what Cambodia is known as today, and then
Yeah.
Khmer Low, which is in like the bottom parts of Thailand. So
Uh,
that's like Khmer Surin you might have heard of. So yeah, we had Khmer Low, Khmer Kandal, Khmer Krom. So like the land was
uh,
so big, right?
yeah.
And then over time, as it became part of Vietnam, and so like our Khmer Krom people are still there, and it's very much we're ethnically Khmer, but like Khmer Krom is such an identity because like separate from just Khmer because like our people have over generations and generations become part of Vietnam, assimilated. They speak Vietnamese and Khmer,
Hmm.
like can kind of pass either way sometimes. And we
Hmm.
practice a lot of the same traditions and stuff like that. And so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost seeing like a Venn diagram
Yeah,
of like
exactly.
Cambodia, and then there's Vietnam, and then there's Khmer Krom, like right in the middle,
Yeah,
where there's a lot of overlapping.
yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe a lot of maybe like not fitting in the other sides as well.
Yeah, yeah. And like going back to the triple hyphen, it's like not only am I like Khmer Krom, so I'm like kind of Khmer, like I'm Khmer, kind of Vietnamese, but then like even Khmer Krom people are like another layer in that because like they're ethnically Khmer people in modern day Vietnam and having to try to preserve their language and stuff. But they also identify as Vietnamese too sometimes because
Hmm.
they go to Vietnamese schools and like that's also part of it's like me identifying as American, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
super complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on that journey right now with Vietnamese. And I'm just like, it is so blurry now because, yeah, it's an ethnicity. In
Mm-hmm.
the US, like Vietnamese is just so clear. You're just Vietnamese.
Yeah.
But then when you're in Vietnam, you realize that, oh, okay, it's kind of like a nationality as well because there's all these other ethnicities and the vast majority of them are indigenous. They've always been there. You know, even before Vietnamese people had moved into certain places, like they've been there before as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is Vietnamese? Because like they can identify as Vietnamese as well because they're part of the Vietnamese nation and they have a Vietnamese passport.
Yeah.
So it's just so many layers,
So
right?
many layers. And like that was so complicated for me too, because when I started to learn about Khmer Krom history, the issues that are still going on today, I was so like, I was so fired up and I was like, I want to help my people. And like I really started to learn about all my Khmer side. Then I found in doing that, I really started to reject my Vietnamese side
Mm,
because of just like everything I was hearing and learning from history, politics, stuff like that. And then of course the actual like regular level discrimination that happens, I was so fired up that unfortunately started to reject my Vietnamese side. And I think
mm,
I was also taught that too. It's like, oh, well, you're not Vietnamese, you're Khmer. And then, like, this would be we hear, right? You're Khmer and Vietnam took our lands. Like, don't identify as Vietnamese. Like, it's just like
mm,
you learned Vietnamese as a form of assimilation, X, Y, and Z. And so for a long time, I rejected my Vietnamese side and I was like, no, I'm Khmer. I'm Khmer Krom. But then as I came to Cambodia, I mean, I came to Cambodia to learn Khmer and learn about the culture and everything. Because some people might ask, oh, why not go to Khmer Krom and learn? And
mm.
like, I wanted to do that, but I was like, oh, I want to learn like Khmer in like Khmer schools and stuff like that. And that's a whole other topic of like, it's a bit harder to learn in Vietnam, like in Khmer Krom,
Mm.
to learn the language. So I wanted to come to the main source today.
But then the
Like,
reason why you chose Cambodia.
yeah, like I chose Cambodia and I was just like, oh, I want to be just full Khmer.
Mm,
Like I still was always, I love my Khmer Krom people, but I want to learn Khmer and I want to kind of
mm,
take on this identity. This is originally where Khmer, right?
mm,
But then as I started learning Khmer, I thought I'm going to learn Khmer and it's going to help me connect with my family better. That was one of the reasons
mm,
and be able to talk to them. And then after living here for months and months, every time I go home, my family's still speaking Vietnamese, you know, like they speak Vietnamese and Khmer, and it's like mixed within the
mm.
same sentence. Then I was like, wait, well, we're not like Khmer Khmer, we're Khmer Krom. So I was like, I also felt kind of like
Wow.
outsider too. I was like, wait, I spent all this time trying to reconnect with my Khmer side, but at the end of the day, my family is still very Vietnamese, like
Yeah.
Khmer Krom. So I was like, wait. And I remember learning Khmer too. I tried to really adapt and adopt everything Khmer. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna call my mom Ma. In Khmer, it's Ma, mom.
Uh,
But I grew up calling her Ma in Vietnamese. And
right.
so then after a while too, I was like, why am I trying to change how I call
Yeah.
my mom just to like be more Khmer, to speak more Khmer? It's
Yeah.
like, no, this is a relationship with my mom. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Even my brother, I call him Anhai. Like that's Vietnamese.
Wow.
Like I've called him that since I was little.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like I tried to call him Mong or Mong Prof, which is the same thing in Khmer. But I was like, it's unnatural for me. Like this is my family. I don't need to change
Right.
how I
Right.
speak and how I call
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
so that was like a realization for me that I'm still kind of figuring out now is like, what is my identity as a Khmer Krom? And like
Mm,
not having to listen to what other Khmer Krom people told me that we need to just only preserve our Khmer identity. And like I was like, no, like, but I'm also Vietnamese too. Like
mm-hmm.
technically, like I grew up in Vietnamese communities, in
Yeah.
culture and language. So now I'm kind of on a journey of like reconnecting with my Vietnamese side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because just for the record, I think that maybe even local, I'm not even gonna say Vietnamese, like getting, it's
Mhm.
just to differentiate, like for folks who don't know, that's like the ethnic term for the majority, Vietnamese speaking majority in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Um, it's not the same. Khmer Krom and Cambodian is not the same.
Yeah.
Because I think I hear locals even say when they meet a Khmer Krom person, they're like, oh, that's a Cambodian person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, wait, I think I'm learning that that's different, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different. Let's
They'll say
set the
like
record straight here.
Kampuchea, right?
Yeah, they'll say
Yeah.
like, oh, or they'll say like ngu gam. That's like kind of like the slang
Oh,
word now for
short in
Cambodia.
person. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like that's not the same thing. Like a Cambodian person is a different experience. They're like nationally from Cambodia.
Yeah.
Khmer Krom person who's been ethnic, like indigenous in Ming Tai in Mekong Delta for a long time.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Exactly. There's so much overlap between like ethnicity, nationality, and all these things. And it's interesting because I think especially for people like us, but even people in the motherlands, like there's such a strong pull, like they want to just hold on tight to like this one identity, right? Like, so like Khmer people want to hold on to Khmer so hard. And I feel like similar to like Viet Cong, right? Like,
Mm.
and there's like, but there's so much complexity and overlap, and not everybody fits into that. And I think when that happens, and then we still hold on to these identities, it's like people don't really fully fit in with that, and
Yeah, yeah. It's just
it's
so
hard.
messy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think people are like, they need to separate everything into like
yeah,
these clear colors and boxes.
yeah.
I think they forget that identity is not like that. It's kind of
Mhm.
like this mishmash and overlapping, and it's like 95 Venn diagrams all sitting on top of each
Yeah,
other, right? Because
yeah,
it's just like you're saying, part of your identity is these Vietnamese words, or I don't even want to say Vietnamese anymore. These words, right?
yeah, yeah,
That have just been part of your upbringing and your culture growing up
yeah.
that makes Khmer Krom unique.
Yeah, yeah. And even for me, my specific family is so unique from my best friend who's Khmer Krom. Her family is very more like Khmer. Like
Mm-hmm.
they mostly only speak Khmer. She doesn't know any Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's wanting to learn that side. It's like every Khmer Krom family is so different too. Like it means a different thing for everyone. For some people, it's like, no, I'm Khmer. Other people are like, oh, I'm Khmer and Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, no, because me traveling to Mekong Delta, I'm so nerdy with like looking for what those are, those uniqueness and the experiences,
Yeah.
and even for in Vietnamese in Minh Dai cannot be Minh Dai culture without Khmer people.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a part of the cuisine, the language, just everyday experience there is because of this proximity between Khmer people and Gin people that came there. Like you
Mm,
can't separate that. It
yeah.
makes the Minh Dai experience have its own flavor.
Wow, I love hearing you say that because even for me, yeah, my family's from there, but I haven't spent enough time in Minh Tay. I've been there a few times, but to like really spend time there, it's like I only know when I go visit my mom's hometown or um, what I see and hear. So it's really nice to hear that coming from you because that's what I think, but I'm like, I don't really know. Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean that's kind of the beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Focusing on the overlapping.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize it's what you were saying too. Like, we want everything to fit in a box when it comes to identity, and it just doesn't. And I'm kind of starting to feel like I just want to throw away like all the labels.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's actually just not realistic.
yeah,
The reality is just not that. Yeah, it's just convenient for the brain, I
yeah,
guess. And other people want to like put you in a box right away because they're lazy
yeah,
to think about it.
yeah.
But the reality is like this beautiful chaos, like this mixture. I'm
Hmm.
sure having been in Cambodia, that as one country, even, is it all neat and tidy? Where it's just boom, everybody's just fits in this box.
Not at all. And that's the thing too, where most Cambodians aren't like talking about it, but we're also not like Khmer is like the equivalent to like in Vietnam. It's not only Khmer ethnicity in Cambodia,
Oh, okay.
right? Like there's tons of other
There's
peoples
Jam
here.
people here
There's
as well.
Cham, yeah, and like I mean, you could go into it, who's been here, who's
Who's been here
immigrant, right? But
longer.
like, but yeah, it's like it's not only Khmer. Like there's indigenous peoples here, and in Cambodia recognizes those. So yeah, to also equate Khmer and Cambodia, like it's similar with Kin and Vietnamese.
Mm,
Yeah, it's the majority, and I understand the desire to hold on to our Khmer identity because we faced erasure for so long,
yeah.
right? But at the same time, when we like use these labels and try to fit everything into a box, it's like we're erasing other people
Yeah.
and we're making it so complicated for ourselves to understand our own identities
Yeah.
because we're so afraid of losing our identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So after university, what's next? What was next on the timeline?
Yeah, I literally graduated, and I think 2 weeks later, I came to Cambodia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or it was like 3 weeks later. Yeah, so I had signed up I had applied for a Khmer language and culture program here in Cambodia. I did that for 8 weeks, and then I continued to study. So my family's Buddhist, and my mom knows a lot of monks, and so she helped me to arrange a Khmer class at a Buddhist high school here, one-on-one with Khmer teachers. And then that's how I studied Khmer for like the next few
Mm,
months, my first 5 months here. And then After that, I started working at an NGO here, and that's when my Khmer really rapidly improved because I had to speak Khmer every day with my coworkers
Wow.
and use Khmer. And then I worked there for 2 years, and yeah, having to speak it every day
You had to
hit
work
me.
for 2 years with the Khmer team while learning Khmer.
Yeah, I mean, we also spoke English. So the nice thing is like everyone had to, well, most people spoke
Mm.
English. So it was nice because then we could ask each other questions. And that was a really helpful environment. Whereas
Mm.
the teachers before that, like the monks, like they didn't really speak English. So I was trying to learn Khmer only in Khmer. So it was really hard.
Wow.
Yeah. But so being able to speak Khmer and English with coworkers, that was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because you had that opportunity, and you can actually be like, "Wait, can you just explain that in English real
Yeah,
quick?" Like,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
But then I remember you hit me up because like you wanted to create a program to teach Khmer,
Yeah.
right? What was the
Yeah.
inspiration for that?
Honestly, I think it's just always been my dream to help other people learn Khmer ever since starting my journey because there's just so little resources to learn Khmer. I remember when I started learning Khmer in the States with the monks at our temples, I organized a free online Khmer class for people to learn Khmer with the monk at our temple. And I was like, I'm still learning too, but if you guys want to join and
Mm.
learn, because there just needs to be more access and resources. So I
Mm.
haven't started yet, but it's on the list of
Yeah,
things
yeah.
for Selarati.
I should say that you hit me up to teach Khmer because you saw me trying to teach Vietnamese.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Not
yeah.
Khmer. Like
Yeah,
I
not the
wasn't trying to
correct
teach
teaching.
Khmer.
Yeah, but no, because that's I saw what you were doing, like teaching Vietnamese and having courses, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that for Klein.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm guessing after that became kind of the inspiration for Celerati, part of it. So
Yeah, so
tell me about Celerati.
yeah, so Selarati, the inspiration for creating a Kon Khmer homecoming experience was essentially my journey, but I did it alone. And I was like, it was really hard. And it was like a 3-year long journey.
Hmm.
And I was like, I want like other Gon Khmer to have this experience, but to do it with other Gon Khmer. Like when I first came and I did that program, it was with a lot of Americans and stuff. And it's like just different to learn about your own country alongside the foreigners.
Yeah.
Like you can't connect to them or talk about things in the same way. And
Yep.
moving to Cambodia was like such a healing journey for me.
Hmm.
And I just, as I started to create content, post online, and
Yeah.
gain a following, there were so many people that like resonated with what I was doing and my story,
Yeah.
and people would also hit me up, oh, can you like be my tour guide, or can you meet,
Same.
yeah, meet, like, can
Yeah.
I meet with you when I come to Cambodia? And I was like, I have a full-time job. I don't think I can do that.
Literally me. Yeah. And then
So,
you're like, wait a minute, I could make a badass heritage experience, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I was designing some as well. So
yeah,
then I was watching you do it. And I was like, this is amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
So
that's how it came to life.
tell me about that whole journey, setting it up and everything.
Yeah. So basically, last year, I quit my full-time NGO job to focus on this because it was like a dream I had for so long.
Mm.
I was like, I'm finally gonna do this. It took me from, I think I started in May last year, like exactly a year ago now. I started planning, and just posting online. I had gained a following, a community enough that people know the
Yeah.
journey I've been on.
Hmm.
And I was like, I want to share this with you guys. So it's 10 days, and I bring them from Phnom Penh to Battambang and then Siem Reap because I feel like each of those places is, they're all very unique and show a different
They
side of
do.
Cambodia.
Yeah.
But especially I was like, I want to be your guide. I want to show you Cambodia through my lens,
Mm.
through a Khmer diaspora lens,
Yeah.
and one where it's like I'm literally gonna hold your hand through this because it's actually really hard and really scary to come back to your motherland. But then if you can't really speak the language or you don't know much or X, Y, and Z, it's like I get how scary and like how meaningful it is at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to create an experience where it's like we do this together
Yeah.
and we reconnect together and we can ask questions and not feel like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed, or like I should know this or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So basically I took everything that I went through and I was like, let's make it less hard for people and also create community. Like people go like come out of these trips and they're like friends forever. Like they're still texting every day in the group chat. And I'm like, I love this.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. You've done like 2 already, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing. Tell me about some moments that you remember.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's been incredible. Sometimes I can't even believe I did that and I'm doing this. I think like when I start with each trip, we have like a welcome day, welcome orientation. And every time we sit down, we sit in the circle, and I just look at everyone, their faces, and feel their energy. And like it's like an electric feeling because everyone, it's like they've been longing for this for
Mm-hmm.
like their whole lives. Whether or not they've come to Cambodia before, like this is the first time they're really doing it for themselves, like for their healing, for their identity and learning. It's a brave choice to like come and join a group of people you never met before and be vulnerable in this kind of space. At least in the past two, even like the first day, this is the first like hour, everyone's crying already, like tears, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy because like you
Yeah.
don't know each other, but there's a connection that immediately forms on the
Yeah.
trip. And then throughout, seeing people come out of their shells,
Yeah.
speak Khmer. Transformation is crazy to see from day 1 to day 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think nobody goes into it expecting to get that close with other people, but that's like the most amazing thing that comes out of it. This past April trip, there was a big healing moment for me during the trip. What I do is towards the end of the trip, I bring everyone to Angkor Wat, and we go early in the morning and I bring them to behind Angkor Wat and we sit on the grass and I do like a guided visualization and we reflect on like almost the whole trip so far
Yeah.
and like what it means to be like sitting on the land of our ancestors, right?
Mm-hmm.
That built Angkor Wat. And I have a special message to them as going Khmer and making this journey. And sometimes there's tears in this. And I remember this past trip, there was like the local authorities that came by to just like see what we're doing, like sitting on the grass at Angkor Wat. And then, because usually you're not really like, people don't do that.
Yeah.
But we asked permission. But he like read through and like listened to what I was saying to them, both
Yeah.
English and Khmer. And he had told my coordinator at the time, because she had said, even just reading the script, I wanted to cry. She said that to him. And she was like, if you wanted to cry just reading it, just imagine the person that wrote it, everything that they had to go through to be able to create and do this type of thing, like this
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like that's somebody, you have to have the heart to do that.
Yeah.
And I just felt like he didn't say it directly to me, but I felt so seen by just a random local person,
Wow.
be able to see. And I was like, that was like a healing moment for me. I feel accepted and seen by our Khmer diaspora community because I'm like, we're the same. We get each other.
Yeah.
But for like a random local Khmer person to like see what we're doing and to be able to like see me in that way, I was like, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
working. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of this that I've been doing, it's like
Yeah.
coming together.
Yeah. Because that's on another level. I can imagine because I was experiencing similar things with group that I led. And when you get that kind of connection with the locals,
Yeah.
that's super special when they're like, welcome home. And it's like, whoa, I get shivers right now
Yeah,
just saying it.
literally. I'm
It's
like,
just
oh my
like,
God.
whoa,
Yeah.
you know, because they're living their life here as locals and like, you know, they might know about the diaspora community on their periphery or they might have some relatives. But to see them come home and like have a program like this and want so badly to connect that like they're in tears because it's like it's something that they've been missing,
Yeah.
you know, as a second generation or 1.5 generation or even as first generation, right?
Yeah.
And then to have the locals be like, you know, welcoming them back and like come over here and just it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to describe. Yeah.
That's my favorite part. And I love that you had that experience too, like in Vietnam. I feel like this needs to happen everywhere, I feel like, because I like there's nothing like coming to the motherland. And I feel like everyone, no matter which country their family is from, like they need to make the trip back to the motherland. Cause like there's something in us that's like it's so healing or it's just so like it awakens something in you.
So going back to something that I brought up earlier, I don't know the word for this, but maybe tension.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Los Angeles, there were Cambodians in my neighborhood. I knew in high school that we kind of had to band together. I was bringing up earlier that Asian was kind of the identity.
Yeah.
Like Vietnamese, Cambodian, Korean, whatever is very, very essential. But I think in America, I think Americans see us as Asian first. So then that kind of became, I'm not sure which one came first, like the need for it or like the fact that like Asians just banded together to survive kind of thing. But that label was created and that subculture was created. But here, Asian, yeah, that's a thing. But people definitely identify by their nation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like Vietnamese, Cambodian, Laotian, Chinese, whatever. And then hearing about the history of tension, conflict later, right? You're just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh man, that's unfortunate. Like I just like kind of like us being united and
Yeah.
like kind of connecting and having this big kind of community because we're all neighbors here,
Yeah.
right? Why aren't we getting along? You
Yeah.
know? And then coming here to Cambodia and experiencing Cambodia with local Khmer people, that was such a beautiful experience. And I'm like, wait, if I can do it, like other
Yeah.
Vietnamese people can do it. It's just like
Yeah.
they're so amazingly nice and friendly.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be able to do it? So I kind of feel like, and I don't know if you agree, we don't need to bring that tension with us. You
Yeah.
just come anyways, and there is a way to connect, right? Do you feel
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially like for myself, because I grew up in the States, we grew up removed from what's going on here,
Mm-hmm.
really. So I didn't really grow up with the mindset that there needs to be tension between us. Like I didn't understand the history. I didn't really know what was going on. But I did know like even the way my family acted, I felt like they were living double lives too. As like Khmer Krom, like my mom was like with Khmer people was like Khmer, but Vietnamese people was Khmer.
Oh, interesting.
Or if she wanted to like people so for example if she would get her nails done somewhere she would just tell them she's Khmer but she can understand everything they're saying
Yeah.
so like
People like doing that.
yeah so like but yeah and so like I don't know I learned from a young age too that there's like some tension. I don't really know why but like
Mhm.
I would hear on both sides like
Yeah.
with discrimination and making fun and stuff like that. Even like the words that are slightly derogatory to call the other people, right? And then coming here, it's still a thing. I think obviously it depends on who you talk to as well.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought it was gonna be worse coming here, but it's not that bad. I don't know. I think it all depends on who's really focused on it.
Or maybe it's some bad experiences they've had where they just kind of colored what they thought about, everyone in
Yeah.
Cambodia versus or the other way around as well.
And yeah, and I think also maybe like however they learned about history as well, like just kind of taints how they see the country,
Mm-mm.
right? For example, for Cambodia, they might be like, oh, like Vietnamese people that they really like, and they're like, oh yeah, so maybe some Vietnamese are good, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But I remember saying how I would love to create some sort of bridge between like Khmer and Vietnamese communities. And like,
Hmm.
who knows, maybe host a trip to Cambodia or Vietnam. Like, I want there to be open arms, like
Yeah.
connection and circulation between the two countries. And I remember someone being like, no, that's not going to work. Like an
Hmm.
older person, like, that's not going to work. Like,
Hmm.
we don't need to do that. We just focus on growing Cambodia and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Mm.
but why?
Yeah.
Why are we so stuck in this kind of old mindset? And like, no, I'm like, I'm just praying the younger generation can do it. Like I'm
Yeah.
hoping like I understand the old mindsets and like the trauma and war that they went through, but I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't have to be like that. Like I'm
Yeah.
so over that. And it's
Yeah.
not to discount what they went through, but I'm like, come on, it's not. We're talking about governments and politics versus like everyday
Exactly.
people who you guys live the exact same life,
Yeah.
like across a border.
Yeah. That's why I'm so happy to bring my team with me here who I'm gonna just be straight up. This is what I'm hearing on the ground from Vietnamese folks is you're going to Cambodia, be careful.
Yeah. No,
Right?
yeah, yeah. My brother, he's been like staying in Vietnam for a while, and he's been saying that in Vietnam they think Cambodia is so dangerous.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But like, I think within Southeast Asia and then globally, like Cambodia is seen as like this really dangerous place. And of course, there's like bad things that have happened or whatnot. But
Headline like they hear a lot of negative news.
yeah, yeah. But which is so crazy because living here, I'm like, I feel so safe.
I think that's
Every
important to know.
Yeah, like I feel so safe. And if anything, I felt more safe here than I have living in San Francisco. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I don't know, I think it's a lot of like propaganda.
I mean, we can say that those things happen,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like maybe what I think about the US, you know what I mean? Because I'm from Los Angeles,
Hmm.
when we look at what's going on in Los Angeles, where I live, it's scary.
Yeah.
Like there's all this crazy stuff happening in LA all the
Yeah.
time. I've lived there my whole life. And it's like, yeah, when somebody asks, is it dangerous? I think I just tell them, like, yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
It might not happen when you're there.
Yeah.
It could happen when you're there.
Yeah.
It just exists,
It's like, and it's all relative too. Like, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Because even like living here in Southeast Asia for so long, and then I hear the perception of the US, they're like, oh my God, the US is crazy. I'm scared to go there. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
That is true.
And I go every year and like it's also fine. Like it
Yeah.
depends where you live, it depends, all those things. So I don't know, there's just so much nuance and it's like unfortunate how, the labels and the reputations are built.
I think that's the issue. It's just like those things that happen, those news stories that happen
Yeah.
will make people think all Cambodian people can't be trusted. I can never step foot in Cambodia. They have this idea of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's so important to hear from you that you're walking down the street and you feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. Cause like I know there's stuff going on, right? Behind closed doors and all of that. And I'm like, it's like a weird space to be in because I'm like, I'm living my life and I'm lucky I'm like not affected by it at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm genuinely not affected by the stuff that's
Mhm.
going on here. And I'm lucky that I'm not. But those things are real. And at the same time, like, yeah, those things should be talked about. Because I think there's an issue too with, as a country, Cambodia, we want to grow. We want to improve the country and develop it. And we want the world to have a different perception of what Cambodia is like.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, but we still need to address like whatever issues are happening and stuff. Right. And so I think it's hard. We want our perception to be different, right? And so it's
Mhm.
like we'll push all the good stuff, but then other people on the outside are like, oh,
Yeah.
but look at all that bad stuff. And it's like, I think that's where it's like, yeah, we need to adjust that stuff too. And
Yeah.
Cambodia is also really safe and really great to come to.
I see
Like,
what you mean.
just
Yeah.
like the US, right? It's like there's all these issues, and we still know that it's like a great place in many ways. But that's the struggle for Southeast Asia. I feel like our small countries. That's what a lot of Khmer people struggle with is because we're such a small country, we have such a small voice, it feels like, on the international stage that some people, it's like discouraging sometimes.
I think watching your journey makes me kind of guess that these things that you're talking about is kind of like why you chose to come here as well, right? You feel like this this desire to be a part of bringing Cambodia out of that.
Yeah.
Like you get to be, even if it's a small part,
Yeah.
changing people's perception, bridging, and like
Yeah.
being part of growing something here.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think in coming here, I had no idea what it was gonna look like. I came and I was like, I want to learn. I want to see what it's like. I want to learn how things work here. And then I think that was a turning point that made me decide to stay in Cambodia. I was like, not only I'm learning Khmer and I'm learning about myself, but I was like, I want to be part of the development of Cambodia. I want to be a part of the progress and change that's already happening. Like you talk to people that come here and they come to work, it's such an entrepreneurial space right now. There's so much potential and so much happening and starting right now. Cambodia and Phnom Penh is such a great place to become an entrepreneur, to start a business. The barriers to entry compared to like the US and to just like start your own business, worlds apart, right? And I just like there's so much potential with like the young generation here, and the creative industry. Like there's
Mm,
so much, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. And I think, including myself, before I came here, I had no idea. I
mhm.
literally thought it's like developing country. I didn't know if I was gonna have access to clean water every day. I had no idea before I came, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what Asia's like. Like people in America, and I'm sure you've experienced this. Like when you talk to people in America, like they have literally no idea what Asia is like
Mhm.
because, of course, what we're taught in the U.S. is like Asia's this outlandish place.
Yeah.
Like no, there's like so much happening.
It's the place to be.
It
That's my
really
argument.
is.
No, this
It
is
is the
Asia is the
place to
future.
be.
The food is the best. It's the most fun.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And it's really hard to be bored here, I think.
Yeah. There's so much to do. And like I love that in Asia too. You're gonna meet so many different people from so many different places. And it's so different from like living in a huge metropolitan like San Francisco or LA or something or Boston, where it's like, yeah, there's diversity, but like how often do you get the chance to actually talk to some random person who has this company in X, Y, and Z? We don't talk to each other like that in the States. You
Yeah.
don't have the opportunities to meet people like that. Like people have to go to networking events to seek that out. And that's if you're like really looking for it.
Yeah.
But here, you go to an event or you go to a coffee shop and like you meet people and people talk to people and you're like,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
there's just so much, I feel like more happening that we can easily tap into. At least that's how I feel compared
Mhm.
to when I was in the States.
That's so interesting because I feel the same thing in Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
and it must be this energy from like a country that is like trying to grow,
Yeah.
and then that's trickling down to all the people, and everyone's just like, what are you doing, what are you working on? Like everyone is so interested, and like people that have amazing projects are still like, I like you, I really am curious about what you're doing, I think it's so cool, let's
Yeah.
connect, let me introduce you to like these 10 other people.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, back home I was just like, chilling in my suburban neighborhood, and you're just like, I was just like meeting movie stars and singers and directors and like business CEOs, and I'm like, what is going on here?
No, really. People always ask me like why I want to stay in Cambodia or what I like about living here more than in the US. And like community is such a big thing. Like building community is really hard no matter where you are. But I feel like here, the accessibility to community, also Phnom Penh's quite a small city in comparison. At first I thought like, oh, Phnom Penh's too small for me. I need like a big city. But then I'll see the same people out at different events. And then that's how the connections form and like
Mm-hmm.
the community builds. And it's like, oh, yeah, I just saw someone last night that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. But I'm like, oh, you're working on this project now. So even if you're not, oh, hanging out every single day, but that community, it stays and it grows because
Yeah.
people are staying and building stuff. And
Yeah.
so that's what's so unique about here in Cambodia. And I think Vietnam, like Southeast Asia.
Yeah. I didn't realize how big community was for me. What's crazy is that I found my community here over many years
Mhm.
in Vietnam, not in Cambodia, but I'm loving Cambodia right now. And then recently when I went back to LA, people kind of recognized me, saw that I was
Oh,
doing all the
wow.
like social media stuff. And then I got invited to like this Vietnamese creatives event. People were like, "Oh,
What?
Chris," everyone was so encouraging, like, "Oh man, I love what you're doing. Keep at it, da da da.
Yeah.
Here's this person, here's this person." That was the first time I like missed LA. I was like, usually I'm just like here 10 days, I'm out,
Yeah,
just want to
yeah,
visit my
yeah.
family, eat some good tacos. And then when I was like, oh my God, like I kind of want to stick around because community. Oh my God, this is like finally community. But that's after doing my whole journey in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so big for people and so easy to find in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And then I think that's why you do what you do, right? Telling diaspora, come here
Yeah.
and see what that feels like.
Yeah.
Because I think what I saw was like something lifting, not just something like filling up inside them that was
Mhm.
empty, but also like something that was like kind of like tense, that's like that lifts off their shoulders when they come back here,
Yeah.
right?
You explained it so well. Yeah.
So Phnom Penh,
Yeah.
why should someone visit?
Oh my gosh. I feel like everybody always skips out on Phnom Penh. It's just like you fly in and then you go to Siem Reap. Phnom Penh is where everyone's living.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you actually want to get to know people and what it's like here,
Mm.
the reality is like city life and country life is very different. And like going to the countryside, going to Siem Reap, that's really beautiful. And you should do that. You should go see the temples in Angkor Wat. But if you want to see the city and like what people are doing in Phnom Penh, you should come here and spend time here and go to the little events here because they're not that big. And like you can talk to someone and like you said, end up meeting a celebrity or
Mm.
like find connections that way, whether
Yeah.
it's just like you want to have a good experience or you want to actually make like long-term connections and build
Mm.
something. Phnom Penh is that spot because it's small and it's a growing, buzzing community. So I feel like
Mm.
whether it's like you want to be in the creative space, like art space or like business, yeah, like Phnom Penh's the spot to be because like I said, everyone's trying to start something,
Mhm.
create something. Yeah.
Mm. What's your favorite place in Cambodia?
My favorite place in Cambodia. Oh, that's hard. I think Battambang and Siem Reap are like, it feels like
Mm.
my heart like settles when I'm there. My grandfather's from Battambang area. It's just like a sweet little town. Siem Reap is like, there's like a trend nowadays in Cambodia where it's like, when life hurts, Siem Reap heals. Like, and you go to Siem Reap and like, reconnect with nature and all of that and the temples and stuff. But I'd have to say Phnom Penh is like my top. Like that's why I live
Oh.
here. I love the city. Yeah, people say it's chaotic and the traffic and this and that, but I love life here. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Mm.
Yeah. But for people coming on vacation or something, I would say they should go to Kampot.
Oh.
Kampot, yeah. It's a quaint little seacoast town, really relaxing, peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just said like 4 different places, but it's fine.
I know that feeling. It's just like that's a really hard question. So
Yeah.
here's another hard question. Favorite Cambodian dish?
Favorite Cambodian dish. Oh my god. I think the classic one is some llama chukru, which is like the sour soup. It's like green.
Hmm.
But a very classic one that I just love, like home cooked meal, is bông tia chiên trai pa ma. It's like an omelet with like salty fish inside. And that's like my favorite, just comfort food. Eating that with rice or like vegetables. Yeah, classic. Vietnamese has similar kind of food to that too.
What are the top things that have changed you since living here? How long has it been?
It's been 4 years. Tomorrow.
Whoa.
Tomorrow is the anniversary, 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, who are you now versus the person that just arrived?
Oh my gosh. Comparing when I first moved to Cambodia 4 years later now, I feel like I know who I am and I'm so confident in my Khmer identity. Like I came here searching for my Khmer identity, to understand it, to learn Khmer. But at that time, I was like trying to prove myself. I was trying to prove that I'm Khmer so I can, if I speak Khmer, if I know everything about the culture and history, then I can be Khmer. But now I'm just like, I'm so confident in my Khmer Krom American identity. I'm not going to be a local native ever because I'm not. And I'm also not the same person I was when I left the US. And so I'm just so confident in that identity that I'm like, I'm Khmer and I'm Khmer-American and I'm figuring out my Vietnamese side now as well. Just the confidence in who I am is really what Cambodia has given me.
So last question.
Mhm.
Are you going to stay here forever?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I decided that last year. I was like, this is home. And like everything that I'm building now with Selarati, I'm like, everything is here. Like, of course,
Yeah.
my family's in the States and I want to be able to go back often. Hopefully my mom will move here one day when she retires. But yeah, I want to stay here. Like you said, like Asia's the place to be. The US is old news. Yeah.
Are you seeing more Khmer diaspora move here?
Actually, yes. Or at least like a lot of people are asking, oh my gosh, there's a guy who I met at my gym. And we had like worked out near each other for like a couple weeks or months or whatever. And then come to find out, he's like, you inspired me to move to Cambodia. And I was like, what? He was like acting all cool, like he didn't like introducing himself, but he's been following me for years. And he was like, you inspired me to move to Cambodia. And I was like, that's amazing. Taking influencer to a new level. Like I'm not influencing your food. Like
huge life choice right
you're
there.
like moving your whole life here. Yeah.
I know that feeling because this person might be watching too. But like I was just walking down the street in Ho Chi Minh City and there was a person stopped on their motorbike like far too. Like it felt like 2 blocks away. And I was walking, they're just like looking back over their shoulder, obviously waiting for me to walk by. And I'm just like, all right. And I was like, as I was coming closer, like, it is you. And then I'm like, who? You know? And then they're always like, oh, on Instagram. I'm like, there's a lot of people on Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, you inspired me to move here. And I was like, what? And then, you know, we talked for a little bit and I'm just kind of like, oh my God, yeah, let's grab a coffee sometime.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then they're like, well, I did message you. And then I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
I didn't see that message.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, it's just like, I can't get to everyone's messages, but I don't know how to feel about that sometimes, you know, because it's the same. It's such a big thing to inspire someone to do.
Yeah.
And I just hope it's been working out for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, you did that. And then it's also like, of course, we can't help every person that is interested to move here, right? It's a lot of, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of like, we're busy and everything. But I love that just through the content and stuff that we're making, it's like, yeah, it's like giving people the idea like, oh, this is what Cambodia's like. I can do that. Like, we're not giving them the courage to come. Like, they have it.
Yeah.
We're just showing them what it's like. And then,
the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. The truth through our eyes.
Yeah.
We should get sponsorships by airlines and stuff like that. Seriously.
We should.
Like,
A little
like
discount
what? How many
code.
people has it been already, you know?
Truly, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, not only do we have things on our journey that are very similar, but also just things coming up that are very similar that I'm really excited for you for. Like possibility of family moving here. That's pretty big. I want to hear about that because like my parents are considering it too. And I know that's a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Right. And then just like your projects here which are amazing. So like really excited to keep following that journey.
Thank
Where can people
you.
find out about Selarati?
Yes, at Selarati on all social media and Selarati.com. So we'll be having trips throughout this year. The next one is in July, but that's already full. So October, December, and then Khmer New Year next year. You can fill out the interest form, Selarati.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Konchiran.
Ốc Cún Trân, cảm ơn nhiều.